Hello, and welcome to Manga Mommies.
A podcast where we chat about, you guessed it, mangas, and occasionally our lives as parents.
Nice to meet you all. I'm Kyo,
And I'm Kel.
and we are your host on the show. We hope you're having a great Monday. So please, would you kindly get a drink, take a seat, and let's chat. Welcome back to today's episode where we talk about the manga of the month and leading up to the question of the day. So, Kels, would you like to lead us off with the manga of the month?
Sure. So this month we're talking about Fruits Basket. The author is Natsuki Takaya. It has 23 volumes. It is finished. It was originally published in July 18th of 1998 to November 20th of 2006. The old releaser was the company Tokyo, and the current releaser is Yen Press. So, a little bit about this manga. Fruits Basket is the story of an orphan girl named Toru Honda. Due to family circumstances, she chooses to live in a tent in the woods. After meeting a few members of the nearby family, the Somas, Yuki, Kyo, and Shigure, she learns that 13 members of the Soma family are possessed by animals of the Chinese zodiac. They are cursed to turn into their animal forms when they are weak, stressed, or when they are embraced by anyone of the opposite gender who is not also possessed by a spirit of the zodiac. As the series progresses, Toru learns the hardships and pain faced by the afflicted members of the family, and through her generous and loving nature helps to heal the emotional wounds. She also learns more about Yuki, Kyo, and the rest of the mysterious Soma family. Toru also learns more about herself and how much others care for her. It really is a story of learning to embrace your own kindness, compassion, and learning to love yourself with a healthy dose of comedy and mishap bundled into the mix. I think it's a great place to start off if you've never picked up a manga before or are returning into the world after a bit of a hiatus.
Very impressed. You read that very well.
I tried. I tried so hard.
You sat there with the Rollins, and I was like, damn, she's getting these names better than I fucking would. I'd have been like, Shigure.
See, the French kicks in at some point and the R's start rolling.
See, I can't. I've never been able to roll my R's very well. That's really.
That's because, fun fact about Kel, English is her second language.
That is about Kels. That is.
Yeah.
Because, English is my first and I struggle, but it's okay. It's fine.
Nah, I mean, in all fairness, I think Southern is your first and English is your second. Is fine.
That is true.
Because there are some times where you get like rip roaring mad and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're saying, but I'm behind you. Let's do it. Who we murking?
And it does happen. Or I go quiet. Depends on who I'm around. But yeah, I totally agree that it is a good starter or refresher back into the world of manga. It is not only a simple story that doesn't deviate too much away from the plotline, and even when it does, it still circles back to the core of the main story's plotline. Some romance and mystery with darker themes mixed in.
It definitely feels like a bit of a cliffhanger, like you want to keep reading it because you're like, oh, it's got this hook and it's got that hook.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Like, what's the plot twist now?
Yeah, and it... Oh yeah, especially when they get into all the side characters and their own plots of life, and then it turns into a who's gonna date who and who are you rooting for.
Yeah. And I like that the characters are actually well-rounded. They're not just these two-dimensional personalities where they fit into these weird tropes that it's just like, okay, it's this trope again or it's that trope again. It's like these characters actually feel like they're fleshed out and they can be your friends and you can really get immersed into it. And it's nice that if you wanted to binge read it, you totally could. But at the same point, like I remember looking at that going, yeah, I can like pick this up and I can read it for a little bit and I can put it down. And, if I have time to come back to it, it's fine. But it's not something that if I was going to put it down for say a month and then have to come back to it where I'm going to be like, oh crap, now I got to reread the whole thing because nothing makes sense and I forget all the plot holes and who's this character again? So
oh yeah, I agree. It is nice that they are well-rounded in a way that no one is really labeled a true villain. Each character has the same opportunity to grow and change along the way of the story. You get not only to see the change for the good, but also some of the change for the bad. And you can see the past and why they are the way they are when you first get to learn about them. Reminds me that as a reader, you always need to remember there are more than one ways to see how the story is written. Not everyone is just the bad guy or the good guy. There's always some gray there.
Exactly. I mean, it's not like the big bad is just the big bad because they can be the big bad. It's very realistic and you can understand why they sort of ended up on the road they went down because it is actually explained. It's not just, hey guys, we hate this character because you're told to hate this character. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to rereading this one. I
Oh,
think it's
yeah.
going to be good. So I got to ask, do you have any fun facts for this one?
Oh, well, you know I do. I always have fun facts. I'm the
Oh,
fun fact queen.
let me hear it.
All right. So, there is a sequel called Fruits Basket Another. It was 4 volumes that started in September of 2015 and coming to an end in April of 2020. Also, a part of the promotional releasing was a miniseries called The Three Musketeers, Arc 1 and Arc 2. The first arc had its original run in a magazine released in April to July of 2019, and Arc 2 was also released in the same magazine, April to August of 2020. Both arcs formed about 6 chapters together that ended up being released at the end of the 4th manga of Another. Side note, you can get them without getting the books on Kindle, each chapter for cheap. I started to read Another when I found out about it, and personally I did not like it as much, because even though they consider it a sequel about the kids after the main cast, only Yuki is ever shown in it, and the others are referred to randomly by name. So for me, I was not really interested and didn't fully finish it. However, now learning of the arcs that seem to be about my fave trio, Shigure, Ayame, and Hattori, I will be looking into reading it as well. Yeah, I don't know if you've read those or not.
No,
So
I
that's
actually didn't know that they came out with a sequel. I only read sort of the original branch of it.
Yeah, so they were a little bit more of promotional items for when the remake of the anime was coming out. So it was kind of to promote everything. So like I said, they're not very long. They're kind of sweet, simple stories.
Just to kind of stir back up interest so when they re-release the anime.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So since Fruits Basket is a mainstream hit, having not only been revamped of the anime, which if anyone's actually ever watched the anime, you have the original one from 2001, which ended in, I want to say, the arc of Simple and Sweet. Wouldn't you agree? I don't know if you've
I
actually ever
would.
watched the original. Yeah, Simple and Sweet. So, and that started with a lot of anime. A lot of anime diverged from the manga because it would try to come out at the same time. And then when that would happen, it would be, let's make up our own story and make up our own end. And, ooh, look, it ended. It's all nice and sweet. Or it's not ending perfectly. And then they went back, and a lot of anime went back and got different licenses from different companies and got revamped to actually continue on with what the manga did. And that's what happened with this one in 2019. I recommend both.
I definitely did appreciate the remake.
I did too.
The characters just seemed a bit more fleshed out and it matched more towards the manga, which was really nice.
Oh yeah, it gave them a little bit more than, here's the end, because I'm sorry, but I do,
Yeah.
as much as I love the original anime that came out, because that's what led everybody into wanting to read it and stuff. So what I loved about it was that, and then I absolutely hated the ending because I was just like, where's more? I want to know what else happens. This can't be the end. Ooh, yeah, ooh, she's the chosen one. She's not really, well, what? So there was too many questions. So that's why I prefer personally to read
Well, and
manga over anime too. So I want story.
I think with the original anime too, wasn't it? The ending came out before the end of the mangas did, and so they kind of just went a little bit haywire with it, if I remember correctly.
Yes, correct. It was one of the ones that was in the trend of let's finish it out for mainstream stake instead of waiting until after everything is said and done. Because, they did the same thing with Full Metal Alchemist too. So, and there was probably a few more that I can't really think of that they did that too. So it was kind of like pushing it out at the same time that it's money. It's about money. It really is. It was all about money at the time. So let's just make up shit and get it out as quickly as possible. Oh, look, it's a happy ending. But not really, because it was kind of like what's the word?
Concise, simplistic, we're done. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that the remastered version is more close to the manga than the original. So even if, you wanted an additional something to kind of back up what you're reading or you need more of an animated visual, it's definitely worth a watch too. It's still one of my comfort classics.
Oh, yeah.
Watch that forever.
Bittersweet. That's the fucking word I was looking for. though. I really did. That was the word. I was like, it's like sweet, but it's not. What the fuck is it? And my whole brain's going sweet and sour, sweet and sour. I know, it's
We're
very
talking
sweet.
Japanese and she's craving Chinese food.
Oh, yeah. So, and that's the truth. It's bittersweet. Not the
It is.
greatest.
I
Yeah.
definitely cried.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be a theme for the episodes is, did Kels cry? Did on a scale of like 1 to sobbing, how many tears did she shed?
Well, how many tears did you shed
That
when you
emotional
read
bitch.
it? Oh yeah, I got pretty emotional with a
Oh,
lot of it.
gosh.
There were some
Yeah.
warning. There in this manga, it's not as there is some scenes that are showingly violent, but there is some uh material that is a little bit forewarning with.
Yeah. There are definitely some themes within there that while they are offset with comedy or lightheartedness or, oh, those typical funny kids and they're getting into things, there's definitely moments where I was ugly crying and potentially almost ruined my manga with the amount of tears that accidentally hit the page. And it's very touching what can happen to these characters that you've become attached to and what their struggles are and when they get hurt, whether that be physically or emotionally, and it's gut-wrenching. Like I don't even know how many times I cried. A lot.
Well, yeah, there is a theme around the characters and it especially the Soma family with domestic violence. There is quite a bit of the domestic violence going on with it. And each one has their own harsh reality hit. And you realize like they're not just, oh, they were just told they couldn't do this or that. No, it's you will be punished and you will be punished severely.
Very, very much so. So yeah, I guess, we should probably put that trigger warning out there before everybody starts reading it that there are scenes of domestic violence, there is scenes of abuse. And while it is not the entire manga, to be aware that if those things are upsetting for you, then you should either skip that section or potentially consider skipping out on if it's severely triggering for you this entire manga, because I can't remember exactly what points it is to skip to just gloss over those scenes. So yeah.
And I mean, reading the manga, you can probably disassociate from it a lot more than you could, I guess, physically watching it on the anime. Because the anime kind of hits you a little faster
Yeah.
than the manga. The manga is kind of like a slow burning with some of it, so you know it's coming. But they do learn to grow. They do learn to kind of get their own healing out of it. So it's kind of like, yeah, it shows you that, but it doesn't show you that, hey, they take this for so long and then you get no closure. You actually get closure for everyone. May not be the
Yeah.
right closure that you
It's
want, but it's there.
yeah. It's, can they overcome that generational trauma and that domestic violence, and can it be better, and how do they learn to heal and cope with the situations that they're put in?
Yeah.
So while it can be upsetting, it also is a bit cathartic too. And I'm sure if you just skip ahead a few pages, there'll be a laugh anyway.
Yeah, most of the worst of it's I want to say toward the middle or the end of the books. Now, I finished the manga through one of the apps that I'm going to be giving y'all um personally, so I couldn't tell you what chapter it is, but I know there's a lot more that increases with, up to finishing the book. It gets a little actiony. So, yeah. And then you'll be Team Yuki or Team Kyo. But yeah, also not only with the revamping of the anime, they released the collector's edition. And they also did reprints of the physical manga as well. So that means that it's one of those that's going to be easier to find on your own for a physical copy. And for Kindle, it also comes at a fair price for the collection. So, but I'll still be giving you the links to the free read down below, along with the links for the Kindle and the physical copy on Amazon. I also recommend eBay and thrift books, Barnes and Noble, and so on for you to find the physical copy or shop around for what you find is fair price wise. Always shop around. Don't just click on the first thing you see just because it's there. Each place is completely different when it comes to pricing. You have some that want a lot of money for at least the whole collection. You got some people that will, if you want to just do book by book because it's easier, then do that. Yeah, is there anything else you want to say, Kels, about the book before we move on?
Nope. No, I think I said my piece on it.
All right, so let's move on to the question of the day. All right, Kels, what was your first manga series that pulled you into more?
For me, definitely Is This a Zombie? I got into manga a bit late in the game. I started as an anime junkie first. So when I watched Is This a Zombie as an anime, I had to know if the manga lined up with it. For those who are interested in a few of the deets behind it, so the author is Shinichi Kimura. It has 8 volumes and it is finished. Originally, it was released in August 5th, 2010 in Japan, and the first English volume was released in North America on March 27th, 2012. For what type it is a shonen. The former releaser was Kadokawa Shoten, and its current releaser is Yen Press. A few easy points to get this one across. Just a quick little synopsis here. The main character is a teenage boy named Ayamu. Ayamu is a zombie who was once an ordinary high schooler, resurrected by a necromancer named Yukawood Hellscythe, or Yu for short, after being murdered by a serial killer. As he tries to make the best of his undead life, he encounters a magical garment girl named Haruna and inadvertently takes her magical powers, being forced to become a magical garment girl in the process. Yes, think Sailor Moon meets embarrassed teenage boy. It is
Oh, God.
a gem. I
I
love
bet.
it. Like the whole twirl and everything, it is priceless to see this boy in a skirt. As you, Haruna, and a vampire ninja named Seraphim, or Seraph, that he meets later on, start living with him, Ayamu helps battle demons known as Megalos while trying to figure out the mystery behind his own death. It is not a serious anime. It's fun, easy, and a comedic read, and it's still one of my favorites to this day.
I can imagine so, to be honest. Personally, I've actually never read that one. I do know of it because of the anime. So,
It is pretty solid. I do really enjoy that one. It is one of those mangas that I pick up when I'm just wanting a good laugh, or I can just pick a book at random and start anywhere. It's not something that requires commitment, which I struggle with when it comes to mangas just because of the time aspect. But it is definitely something that is funny. Watching a boy dressed basically like a Sailor Moon character battling these gigantic monsters. It's priceless. It is really, really funny. And the characters, while not as well rounded as I find Fruits Basket characters to be, they are definitely still not your one-dimensional kind of, for lack of a better word, stupid characters that you can kind of easily forget about and everything else. And while it does tend to have its little deviations from the main plot line, it does kind of leave you hooked with, who killed this boy and like how did he die and how is he handling being a zombie and everything else. So it is definitely a good read, and if you have time, I do recommend it.
I'll have to actually look into that one. Because, yeah, I must have missed that one through that running time. Because I do remember everyone talking about the anime of it. I've just never picked it up. So,
I
especially
have to
with
get my
the
hands on the hard copy again.
yeah, I can understand that. Especially with the whole Sailor Moon transformation scene, I probably would get a kick out of that.
It was definitely funny because again, I this was one of those mangas that I saw the anime first,
Mhm.
and I found that watching the anime first didn't take away anything from the manga, which was really nice too.
Oh yeah, I can imagine some would probably be like, "What the world?" So
This is completely out of left field. Where was this in the show?
yeah, and again, that's why I like reading the manga over watching the anime, just for the simple fact of you don't get that. Oh, well, they missed that or they skipped that. You get exactly what you need to get out of it.
Exactly. So, how about you? What was your first manga series that really pulled you in?
Ugh, well, mine's a little bit of a controversial one, but
Ooh.
yeah. It is called Marmalade Boy. It was written by Wataru Yoshizumi. The original run was from May of 1992 to October of 1995. It had 8 volumes. It is about a girl named Miki Koshikawa's ordinary life as a sophomore in high school is turned upside down when her parents suddenly announce that they are getting divorced in order to swap partners with a couple that they met back in Hawaii on vacation, which is Yu's parents. Not only with the everyday struggles of her life as a teenager, she has to learn to adjust to a new life with everyone deciding to live under one roof together as one big happy family with her new stepbrother. Later on, twists and complicated will they won't they vibes throughout it makes it a slightly easy and funny read.
That does sound incredibly complicated and messy.
Oh, it is. It gets quite messy, especially when it turns into a will they won't they situation toward the end.
Oh, I can just imagine the tension on those pages.
Oh. It gets spicy.
And I mean, being a high schooler having to be that invested in your parents' sex life is traumatizing. So I'm sure that came across as well.
Yes, because I mean it does. It leads off at first as you're like, oh, okay, that's what they decided to do. But then you get more of a real reason later on, and the real reason is even more fucked up.
Ooh.
So, and
Oh,
then it
that
turns it does. It's one of those that some people find it controversial because it tests the boundaries of are they siblings or are they actual just step siblings? And the will they won't they?
it definitely sounds like it's pushing a lot of societal boundaries on that one.
And, and it is. It's a very simple read. It's very good. The story wise is very good. And again, it is one of the first mangas I got introduced to. Now, granted, I was a little special back in high school when I first got my hands on it and wanted to color it because I didn't understand that there was a reason why they were black and white pages, unlike comic books where I completely understood that, but I didn't understand this. I thought it was a coloring book. But I'm special in that way. Again, I'm
And it's
always the
just one of the
problem.
many things that we love about you.
That's what I would hope so, but then again, I completely understand. So, disclaimer, I never colored it. Never did. I got stopped and got informed,
She
but
never desecrated the Bible.
I never did. I never did it. Very tempting, but I never did it. So,
I think I'm gonna buy you for Christmas a manga that you can actually color, and it's meant
oh, that
for
would
that.
make
I will find
that would
one.
make younger me so happy.
Just let you live out your absolutely teenage rebellious dreams to color in a manga.
Uh, well, you've already enjoyed me opening up Kinder Toy that you sent me. I think you got more kick out of that than me just opening the package because I was like, "Ooh, what's
I
this? Oh,
did.
you have to take it apart." Oh man, I was.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I am special. It's okay. I completely understand.
International care packages for the win.
Oh yeah, so much fun. And I got some snacks because I love snacks.
See, now I'm
Yeah.
just thinking of a crazy idea where you write a manga that lets people color in it, and the more that they color in it, the more excited the characters in the manga get that their world is coming to life.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
That'd be interesting. I feel like that'd
Yeah.
be a very kids manga.
Yeah.
Just a random thought that popped into my head.
Well, that's always the controversy about, oh, skipping off, this is strictly about manga, but skipping off of manga for just a second for a side rant. The whole idea of, anime's for kids, anime's a cartoon. Have you read the manga? Not just, I know some of the anime can get a little
Mhm.
messed up, but have you read some of this manga? Some of these mangas get messed up pretty bad, and
It
some of it's really not for kids. Especially them dark romances.
Mhm. Mhm. There's been quite a few with Bean that he's wanted to read, and I'm like, buddy, no, not yet.
Yeah.
Nope. He's like, but I love the anime. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. The anime is like the tip of the iceberg of how absolutely fucked up this manga is. You are not allowed to read this manga yet.
Yeah.
And now he's 12 and he's like, how about now, mother? And I'm like, no, 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 no.
I need you to sign this contract of that you won't resent me or hate me or ever speak ill of me if I let you read this. That I will not be
Well,
the cause of your trauma.
there are a few times where I'm like, listen, I can't let you do that yet. So I guess we should probably segue back onto this other part. Was there ever an additional Marmalade Boy?
They did, which is called Marmalade Boy Little. Its original run was from March of 2013 to September of 2018. There was 7 volumes. Now, personally, I haven't read it because I just discovered this a little bit before we started recording the podcast. So I'll have to go back and read it. Supposedly, the plot is set 13 years after the end of the original one, which focuses on Yu and Miki's respective brother and sister.
We should definitely have a check-in to see if it lives up to the hype of the first one.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely make a note to check in sometime this month and be like, "Hey y'all, yay or nay?" I mean,
I demand updates.
okay, you demand updates.
We demand it, Kyo.
Okay.
I can be pushy.
Oh, I know you can be pushy, and I can be pushy-ish, pushy.
Yeah.
But I can push back. I can push back. There.
Now I like
Thank you.
pushiester better.
Yes, I do make them worse and think that they work. They probably don't. Oh, I'm bad about that. But again, I am an introvert, so
So am
that's
I.
my
And that's
curse.
why you can't see our faces.
And for everyone listening today, let us know in the comments, what was your first manga series that pulled you into more? As well as your thoughts on the manga of the month, Fruits Baskets. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
If you made it this far in the episode, we want to say thank you. We couldn't do this without your support. If you'd like to subscribe and become an official Manga Mommies member, the link will be in the show notes. For Manga of the Month, the PDF, copy, or free website will be located below. If you feel up to it, like, subscribe, or share our podcast so we can find more people just like you. We hope you have a great rest of your day, whatever time that happens to be, and we can't wait to see you next week.
Stay tuned, and thanks for listening.